after it's done.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'll call this workshop to order. We're continuing with our capital improvement project budget now.
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, thank you again for being here with us. We've got a lot of numbers to review today. There's a lot of projects, so we'll go as fast or as slow as you need us to. Anytime that you have a question on any one of these funds, and there's plenty of them to go through, let us know and we can talk specifically about any project. Like I said, there's a lot of them. As Eduardo talked about when we did the overview, we probably completed about 40 in the last 12 months or so. So we're making a lot of progress on what I thought was about 50 or 70 projects too many last year. So we thank you for your patience. So we're going to start with the first one is a CIP fund. Obviously we had some projects that are rolling over, and that's why you're going to see at the top of page 1 a total resources of $13.8 million. We've got a list of 22. Many of them are in the design phase and some are in construction. We've got the department heads that can talk about any detail that you'd like. And I'm actually going to ask Eduardo real quick to tell us about the first 3.
So, thank you, Roy. The first project is 17th and a half. This is a partnership that we have with Precinct 3, Eli Torres. The reason that hasn't been expended is there's an environmental that has to be cleared before they can purchase right away. That $235,000 is the expenditure for right away that we're estimating for that project. The environmental clears, they can start working on closing that. That's just a federal requirement and something that we have to bear with as they do that. 33rd.
Excuse me, but is that the one over there by Ruth Road, and where is that?
It'll connect Ware Road all the way to 29th. It runs by the IDEA and the Edinburgh School.
Yeah.
That's 17th and a half. And it'll tie in a Tres Lagos.
Yep.
So they're gonna realign that, and we'll tie into where we recently put in a signal. We'll tie into that intersection.
And our part, the 235 that's a small part.
That's just right away. We still have other
That's a right
contributions that we need to put together. But since this is a federal project, things don't move so fast, so we'll be able to budget the other requirements from that interlocal that we have with the county.
And what is it gonna be, widened, or what's it gonna be?
It's a 4-lane section with a center turn.
It's a 2-lane right now,
It's 2 lanes right now.
24.
And Edinburgh has the other half, and they'll be taking that further east.
Is that the one that's located a quarter mile south of Monte Cristo? Or is it
It's a little further than quarter mile. It's probably about a mile.
Oh, it's a mile?
It runs in between the IDEA school and the Edinburgh school. If you've ever seen them out there,
Yeah.
that's the.
It's the one that has the electrical lines, the
Yes,
tall.
sir. There's actually electrical lines that traverse east-west and
Right.
north-south.
Okay. And currently that road doesn't cross all the way, or it does cross all the way?
It goes all the way to Ware Road, but it goes in alignment that runs straight. And this new project will take it to curve slightly north and meet into Tres Lagos Boulevard.
Oh, I see.
In conjunction with the TxDOT lightening of
Ware Road,
Ware Road all the way to Monte Cristo.
that's correct.
So that alignment, they'll hit that alignment.
Yes, sir. The next project is 33rd Street. We're working on right-of-way. This one is coming along pretty well. We've already been making offers on the right-of-way, and we're working with the right-of-way department to close on those properties. And so we hope to make progress on that project and then finish out the design for that project. Did you want me to go down the other projects too, Roy?
That's
Wait,
fine.
I'm sorry, Eduardo, let me go back for a second. But doesn't 17 and a half already intersect Ware Road right now?
Yes, sir, but it runs straight.
Right, so the whole purpose is so that it'll intersect with Tres Lagos Boulevard.
Well, it was a capacity, the county brought it to us as a capacity project. And what we told them is we would partner if they considered realigning that to the Tres Lagos Boulevard. It made more sense to tie that road into that master plan community.
Because then there's gonna be a segment of Russell Road that's gonna be left off, right?
By where Country Meadows is at.
Right.
So what-
Russell Road is also 17 and a half, right?
Yes, sir.
So there's gonna be a segment, maybe about a half mile, that is not gonna be included as part of that expansion. In other words, you're making a Y at some
Yeah,
point.
It'll,
right?
it'll be there, but it won't be tied into this system.
Okay, but that road will still exist?
We have no plans to take it out right now. The county has discussed, asking us if we would wanna give up that right of way for additional drainage on the ditch that runs parallel,
Right.
but we have not made any commitments to.
The reason why I asked is because they're gonna be close. It's kinda like the mirror image of Trenton and Auburn, sort of.
Yeah.
You understand?
Kind of that split.
Right.
where It kind of ties in at a weird angle.
Right. And so that's why I was asking what's gonna happen with 17 and a half in terms of, oh,
So right now, where we're trying to match that, where it comes in at a 90, bringing the north-south street, which I believe is 35th or
38?
35th Street,
Or the-
38th maybe.
Yeah.
We asked them as part of this project also to connect that
Oh, all the
to
way?
17th and a half.
Oh, I see.
And so that'll make like a T intersection. And so right now, the way they would leave it is as a T intersection.
All right. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, the next one is the animal intake facility. We've got $2.75 million budgeted for that. Just a reminder that that's half of what we think the construction will be if we get another partner. So we recently got a note from PVAS that they met again with Edinburgh. We're hoping we get them off dead center before a year from now when we're ready to go to construction. So just keep in mind, this is half of our estimate for construction.
We wouldn't go to construction without,
That's a decision you'll have to make.
and the project's in it, right? I mean, it's just like 100% from the state council.
Okay. The next few are numbers that we use on a yearly basis. The first one is asphalt crack sealing as part of our maintenance of roadways. We use about $250,000 a year. Same thing with assorted park amenities. We've got needs on a yearly basis, whether it's something dies or something needs improvements or so on. City fiber is a number that we've been using for over a decade, close to two, about $300,000 a year. Downtown improvements, same thing. Things come up in downtown, whether it's lighting, sidewalks, whatever the need may be. It's a $200,000 figure that we use for downtown. Number 9 is a fire pumper. That's basically, we're buying a new truck and we didn't have enough money in the depreciation fund to cover it, so we're taking it out of the CIP. Fire Station 6 Trail, we talked about this very briefly when we were looking to do an incentive for the company that wants to go over on Sarah around Station 6. We'd like to put a trail there. We've got the space, we own the property. It'd be good for the fire department and the personnel. So we're recommending we do a small trail around that property for about $64,000.
Where is this?
On Station 6 on Sarah and 23rd.
Would this be only for the fire department or?
It could be used by anyone, but it'll certainly help the fire department. Yeah, it'll be a public trail. Horticulture, same thing. That's an amount that we use for parks as we need it. Same number that we've used for many years. The indoor firearms training facility.
Do we normally use it all or more?
We get pretty close to using it all every year. The indoor firearms is something that we talked about at workshop a couple of months ago. We've got somebody from the police department here, but that's the number we believe we need to design it. We're recommending we design it this year and consider funding the construction next year. during the city commission meeting. Right.
Is that still contemplated to be on Oxford and 29th,
Yes,
the training facility?
yes. Loop cutting, same thing, it's a plug number that we use every year. Things come up where we need to redo the loop cutting, that's the vehicle detection that you see on the streets on an intersection. We also use it when we do Cutler, we've gotta go put new loop detectors at the intersections. Morris Hike and Bike Trail, you wanna give us an update on that, Denny?
The Morris Hike and Bike, the
That'd be-
expansion from Jackson to.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah,
and do-
you want to?
So that's the project that's being partially funded by the MPO. We're almost finished with the city's section. We're moving into Edinburgh at this point, or we're getting very close to moving to the Edinburgh section. We do have an interlocal with Edinburgh where we got federal funds split between the two cities. So if you look by Wisconsin just north, sorry about that. If you go by where Wisconsin and 10th Street is, you can see that trail where we've come in a 10th, looped it around, and then we started to take that on 2nd Street and make the improvements there to take it into Edinburgh.
Yeah, but right there, after you go north to Wallbangers, whatever, okay, then it kind of stopped there.
You're correct, Commissioner. So we have another project that is actually funded through this project. It's called the McAllen Lateral Project. We'll be reshaping that canal, and so as part of that reshaping, if we were to build it right now, it would disturb that trail. So when we widen that engineer is taking that trail. We're going to be making that improvement with that project, is how it should be said.
But you're already working on Second Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the time frame here?
So for this, the Morris Trail, we're
No,
done pretty
no,
much
Morris
at the
Trail.
city section.
Tell me that one.
With the McAllen lateral part, that project will be kicking off next year. Our goal is to kick that one off next year.
There's gonna be a gap.
There'll be a gap for right now.
So what does the 2,471,149, what does that pay for?
So that project we fully funded, our part and Edinburgh's part. Edinburgh paid us, we're getting reimbursed through federal funds, and then they've sent us a check for part of that. So the full 2.474 is not all City of McAllen. It's about 50% of that is our portion, 50% is Edinburgh's. We're getting reimbursed federally, and they've sent the overage check as well.
Okay.
Okay, I hate to say this, but, you know, you're not telling me when it's gonna get finished and when it's gonna be that. I mean, you got a community there that asks questions and all of a sudden it stops. And then we're doing over there on Second Street, and it's gonna go to Edinburgh, and there's a gap. I mean, you ask, okay, now it's because we're gonna lighten this lateral? What is this? I haven't heard. This is my area.
Yes, sir.
I need to know what's going on.
So if we can bid that out in the early part of this fiscal year, we're looking at about 18 months of construction. We can look at prioritizing the trail to finish first, but
Well,
that
I'm extremely
improvement is there.
Extremely disappointed.
Understandable.
And why is that section lagging?
So we were designing that drainage. It's a drainage project, and we were just finishing up that drainage design. We're looking at going underground as part of that project. We have 2 underground crossings at 10th and 2nd that had to get designed and put out as part of the McAllen lateral project.
Okay, now you're talking about the underground design and what, is that gonna affect the drainage that you're gonna do?
Well, the trail goes over it. over the drainage project.
Over the drainage, but now you're talking about underground to
So,
10th Street.
as part of the McAllen lateral, when we had to, we knew we had to have that trail make the connection. We came into commission and we requested if y'all would want to consider going underground with that. And we got approved, so we went back and added those elements in to connect. The trail that currently is on top, you have to go through 10th in Wisconsin. In the future, after we bid that out and go to construction in 18 months, we would go underground. You wouldn't be crossing that surface at 10th Street or at 2nd Street as well. Those would be underground and you would never cross at the street.
Why would you think, or who's coming up with the widening of that, because you already crossed that. You have set it up to cross 10th Street. No, not underground, but you've set it up that you cross through 10th Street. No, I'm talking right now.
See,
Okay.
the problem is this, wanna go for it.
Okay, so you already worked it to go to the lateral, to the drain ditch, and it stops. And there's still equipment there, but it stops. And now you're saying that until we do the whole drainage lateral,
We're talking about the budget here, you're going beyond that into the operation.
well, you all can try to stop me, whatever, so.
Just,
So
is
now
that number big or not?
your plan is to do the whole improvement before you title it. That's what the plan is, right?
So we're gonna be widening that canal, and that would have affected the trail if we put it in there. And so we wanna make sure not to put it in, then break it when we're doing the drainage canal, so.
Okay.
We're trying to be as prudent as we can.
Okay, the next one is parking lot repair. A couple of years ago, this actually was a discussion that the city commission brought up, that we needed to be making repairs to parking lots and parks. So that's also a number that we plug every year, as repairs are needed. Pavement markings, that's also striping, along all corridors when we need it, so we've got a budget number every year. Planning, this should, I think, complete the comprehensive plan, is that good here? Michelle? I'm sorry? This will complete the comprehensive plan, and this will take care of the unified code, is that the last part? Okay. Roadway safety improvements, tell us about that, Eduardo.
This is a number that we use to make improvements, that deal with safety. One of the projects that we did is, 10th and Freddy. We added a left turn bay as development came through. There was no left turn bay, that was inefficient signal. Those are the type of projects that we're looking at, is left turn bays, right turn bays. As we see them, the traffic department helps us identify those and we put those projects out.
Okay, street lights, that's something that the city commission instructed that we should continue improving street lights throughout the city, so that's a plug of $600,000. Subdivision paving, that's used when a developer is doing a subdivision and there's either a request or a desire by the city to expand that, either widen it more than they're required to do or an extension. So we use $350,000 every year. Taylor Road, this is design work for mile 2 to mile 4.
Yes, sir. So we're looking at the design of that project from 2 to 4. This money is for design, and if we get parcels, then we'll start acquiring right away as well.
On that project, sorry, that's just on us, or is that TxDOT involvement?
So we've sent letters to three communities. We've sent one to Mission, we've sent one to Precinct 4, and we've sent one to Palmer.
Precinct 4 or 3?
Oh, it's
West is 3. Taylor? West?
Commissioner Evers
That's precinct 3.
Oh, it is
Precinct 3, my
Yes,
apologies.
you're right.
We've gotten a response from Mission. We haven't heard back from Palmhurst. We've discussed this with them, but we haven't got a formal response. And Precinct 4, we're waiting on a formal response as well.
Okay, so TxDOT's not involved.
Not in this project.
All right. Thank you.
And then traffic sign upgrades, what do you use that funds for?
Marlene has a program at the traffic department where they go and upgrade signs. They go and look at signs that don't have the retroreflectivity. They've met their life, they go and replace those.
Okay, on the next page, we show that we've got the available funding at the end of the fiscal year of approximately 1.5 million, so we can revisit that fund for other uses. You can also go through this listing that follows that page of the requests that were made and are not recommended. And so I would urge you to go through them and see if there's a question that you want us to bring back.
Right. On one of them, downtown signal improvements. It looks like some progress was made. There's a small amount of 41,000 requested. I mean, is that to complete? I mean, is it gonna be
What page are you on, Commissioner?
page?
Okay, downtown signal.
Well, I'm saying with that 41,000, is that to complete sort of like a whole project of lights? Are there gonna be a few outstanding for some reason? Or,
It should because it was 176.
that's what I mean, well, 217?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because they look really nice, the little signs that kind of butt out. And it looks a lot nicer, they're noticeable when you drive down there.
Yes, so, for the downtown signal improvement, the intersections, and when we, budgeted for that project, we only budgeted 2 lights at every intersection. At one intersection, we did a pilot to see what it would look like with 4, and we noticed that there's a significant difference, with 4, it has more lighting, obviously, than with 2, so we wanted to come back and request those lights, through the budget to be able to add more lighting at every single intersection, but I believe we also asked for this to our traffic director.
So it's in traffic, because it doesn't say moved to traffic.
They got it approved through the general budget.
Yes.
Now that you say-
So I think that's why it was taken out.
Okay.
Any other question on CIP?
You heard me right. The money that we were gonna use for the median to do the
The landscape.
landscaping, is that coming from CIP?
We already, it did come out of CIP, but we made that payment this year.
Oh, so it's not included here?
No, sir.
Okay.
It was either here or Development Corp, but that's been paid.
Very well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's in development corp. What was the figure, Eduardo?
It's like 1.9. It was in Development Corp.
There's some parking at Oval Park that wasn't recommended. It's 190,000.
What page are you on, Commissioner?
Page 7.
Row 90?
Yeah, I was just wondering what that is.
Right, we took care of that with another fund,
Okay.
and that work's already been completed.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
It was actually taken out of CIP. It's on page 5, number 62.
Yeah, I see it.
Nice work.
That's right, you see that?
Yeah, I see it, 62.
Okay, the next one is Development Corp. The Development Corporation has voted on this budget. This is what they are recommending. Quite a bit of line items, but what you will see is that there's there's a lot less projects that we usually do, and that's because we're catching up with road projects and drainage and so on. So the big number on the top are all 380 agreements that the city commission has approved. The administrative fee is what the development court pays the general fund for the work we do. Affordable homes, after-school learning centers is a partnership with the school. Air service incentives, that's a number that the city commission approved a couple of years ago in case there's requests. What I would say about that number is, at least for this coming fiscal year and maybe two, we may consider reducing that number because we've got a capacity issue. And, you know, we've got numbers for Aeromexico, Volaris, Delta. So we may be able to reduce that by probably about $1 million. So we'd like to revisit that, and then the city commission can make that decision later. I suspect that it'll come back once we start looking at the expansion of the terminal, but for now, we think we can reduce that number.
Does this number reflect what was budgeted last year?
Yeah, actually, the number that we agreed was 3.5 million.
And of that, how much was actually used this past, or this fiscal
So
year?
if you go to, let me find it.
Sorry,
We're just looking at it. No, it's on that page that you
Oh, there it is, airlines, row 78, row 78.
So we budgeted 3.5 million, and we've got Aeromexico, Volaris, and Delta. So we actually have a carry number, I'll call it a carry number, for future projects of 1.9 million. That's probably more than we need.
And we've used only 600,000 of that up to this?
We've used 540, let me tell you. $546
Oh, I see.
plus 169 plus 836,000.
Got it.
But I think we're what we're budgeted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for now, we need to revisit that number and make use of those funds. Okay, we'll do that. Anzal Lewis Cargo, that's the construction management of Anzal Lewis, that's ongoing. Benson Road widening, Buddy Owens to 5 Mile. Tell us about where we're at with that, Eduardo.
So this is actually being partially funded through the MPO. And then what we have budgeted here is design. We're working on the design right now. We need to environmentally clear that. Once we're environmentally cleared, we're hoping to be environmentally cleared within this year. We can start buying right away, and that's why we show a right away number as well.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, did you go to the next one? Buddy Owens to 5 Mile right away?
Yes, sir. I discussed the right away and why we put it in there.
Okay, the business development and recruitment, that's one of the programs that Rebecca runs. We feel very good about that. Any questions on what Rebecca's program is?
Is that
The
the
Buxton,
software?
No, that's in addition to that.
Buxton is later on down this list. Buxton is the software that we use for finding data information to see if we have to change our national accountants. That contract is coming up next year, and we're moving on to going out for RFP.
oh,
So a yearly contract or is a multi-year?
That one was a 3-year contract.
Yeah, kind of. This one is for another 3?
Well, it's
an RFP.
expires next year, so I'm going to go out for RFP.
So the 251 is for what? The business development and recruitment, is it just like a marketing allocation? Or?
Yes, so that fund was established when the retail and business development fund was established 10 years ago. Those funds are used for marketing, travel, PR, that is business and development related. So it's different that we do our marketing, and that's more for consumer, regarding consumer.
Okay.
This basically funds Rebecca's program, which she does office-wise.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very good.
The Chamber of Economic Development Strategy, that's something that you approved, presentation from the chamber. That number was reduced dramatically because the Development Corp didn't fund some of what back then Josh presented. But the current CEO is continuing with the Economic Development Strategy, and that's the number you approved.
It's probably a rollover because there wasn't any money spent.
No, it's every year.
But they haven't gotten that project off the ground, I don't think.
I think they have, yes. They haven't? Okay.
So what happened?
It's probably a
Oh, it's a
rollover.
rollover.
We didn't spend any this year, so
It's a rollover.
it's good. For this year, it was expected to be.
Okay.
So it's expected to be annual, but this year, in particular, is they're coming from the last.
Fiscal year, yeah.
Okay. Christian's Manor is the presentation the Development Corporation received recently. This is a program that Eddie Cantu is doing, and it is helping fund that program.
That's for the homeless, right?
It is for single mothers that want to go back to school,
Okay.
secondary education.
Oh, great.
He provides the housing.
Mhm.
Christmas in the Park is an expense that we do every year as part of the holiday parade. City Hall expansion, that is the design that the City Commission approved. What we did was, the way you approved the design work, you approved it through work orders. It was a little over $2 million, I want to say 2.1, 2.2, and then the presentation was requesting that we revisit the balance. We're recommending we do the whole thing, so we'll go through that. So this does the entire design of City Hall, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Comfort House is an agency that Development Corp funds. Downtown Refresh is a project that we've undertaken now for several years, being very successful. Rebecca also runs that program. Golf course,
Are we adding any new territory to that downtown?
we did
refresh?
last year.
I know, are we contemplating growing it anymore?
Did we spend the money?
Downtown refresh hasn't been as successful as regular refresh. The first one is the one that we have on 9/10, the Houston Main Park. We have not expanded it. Happy to.
So people don't know about it, I mean, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, they know about it. I think that what's happening is that it's saturated. Everybody that's thought about doing improvement to the facade has done it.
I think we had discussed about parking lots,
Parking lots are, included.
because I think some of the parking lots, especially on Nolana, are so ugly and dated they look. But I think if we can offer them even more assistance, but if they put landscaping and all that,
Oh, yeah, that'd
because
be
it's,
great.
Nolana's starting to
Landscaping.
look not very good.
So, refresh covers everything that's external. So it's parking, it's landscaping, it's lighting, it's windows, it's anything that's external.
So I say let's try to push that, the landscaping.
Landscaping.
Does that include murals?
Yes,
It does, right?
Yes. And just on landscaping, a lot of our refreshers don't like spending money so much on landscaping as they do on asphalt or other things that really improve the look of it. Landscaping is kind of like the last thing they
No, but in the middle of the, in some areas, especially like the old ones, and they're in Nolana, it's just the parking lot. There's absolutely no landscaping at all. So if we can maybe incentivize a little more, hopefully start get a little, not that I'm a green guy, but it just looks nicer.
Always.
One of the challenges of some of those is that there's no water source. And it's very expensive to get water through from the.
Nopales.
Sometimes, well, if we do local
Native.
native plants, they don't need much water. They adapt very well, so we can encourage them to do that. Because they won't need
Yeah,
sprinkler
well,
system
And
and
I
everything like
understand
that.
that issue, but
So you
it's,
don't have
When we
the
launched,
agencies
we launched
separated
it at
for the
$50,000 matching grant.
Well, I thought we had. No, I think we need to go up. I
50?
mean, you can't do anything with 30,000 if it's matching.
No, hombre, more. Yeah, I agree with you.
I remodeled my house and,
Yeah.
God, you can't do anything with even 30,000. So I think we need to,
Let's go up.
Okay, we could workshop that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bless you.
good suggestion, Roy.
Thank you, sir.
Think so?
Let's see, the next one is a golf course. This was actually added by the Development Corporation members. And I agree, I mean, we need to continue to to do something for the golf course every year. I mean, that's a golf course that's thriving. Go ahead.
Yes, Roy, that amount there is a rollover from the project we completed earlier in the year. So what we're hoping to do with the 500, if they get approved today, that the Development Corporation approves, combine them and finish off the project.
Is there another one? So there's I don't see another line item though.
It's on page 13, towards the bottom, item 63. Let's see, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's a rollover.
That's the one that was approved, I believe, by the Development Corporation.
Okay, that's not in here. Okay, so that's something, is that what the,
It
think
was,
we did.
we did discuss it at
Yes.
development.
yeah,
We
To add
did it
back
right
in.
in the development court, I think we did. Check it out.
okay, so we plus 500,000. Okay,
Check it out, I think we did, right?
We did.
all right, we'll check that. Next one's El Milagro, 280,000. Involuntary demolitions, that's a program that continues, goes through the board, and this is our way of taking action on demolitions. Live Fund, you're familiar with that. Matching commercial grant program, that's a small figure. How much do we spend on that?
There's very good planning, and it just depends on the year. Some years we use it all, and some years we don't. So we mostly like signs for, well, that was for commercial. That one we don't use commercial, but the neighborhood one we use more.
Does one need to go up and the other down maybe? Let's look at a couple of years of expenditures and bring it back at route. Okay, MEDC is 1.1 million. Heritage Center, 60,000. What is the 60,000?
It's a grant.
That was an AC rollover.
That was a rollover?
That was the AC.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that was the AC.
McAllen, we're gonna visit this number. We're supposed to be budgeting 150,000, not 300. What happened last year is that never got transferred to McAllen, so we're gonna confirm whether it did or it didn't. If it did, this number will go down to 150, and if not, that's why it's 300.
Is the addition.
We're not doubling it. It's just, we don't think we made that transfer. Operating expenses, that's just for MEDC meetings, minimal. Potential investments, that's a plug so that if the city commission takes an action on an investment, we've got that ready to go, and we don't have to add a line item. So when you do an incentive, we'll identify what that is and reduce this number during the fiscal year.
How's that different from the first one?
Which one?
Number 26, but
Those are approved 380s that you've already approved and that are ongoing. These are potential that have not been approved.
So you're gonna have to do a budget amendment.
got it.
That make sense?
Yes, now
So let's say
yeah,
that you approved a
explain it.
$400,000 incentive, that number of 9,005,000 would go up by 400,000.
Right.
And the 750 would be reduced by 4%.
Got it.
Priority corridor revitalization. Who wants to describe that?
That is refresh. So that's the first refresh program that we launched in 2019. So it's separate when downtown, we kept it separate so we could kind of
How are we projecting to spend all of this already, or?
Yes,
The 300?
on line number 27.
Yeah.
We probably possibly, right, yes.
Okay.
Okay, line number 28 is the consultants in Austin and Washington. So pay for that.
Lobbyists.
Project Imagine Tomorrow.
That's what I call
What's
it.
that? Can you
Lobbyists.
describe that? How we doing?
Project Imagine Tomorrow has been highly successful. This project has brought in close to $19 million of committed construction. And I just ran the numbers a couple of days ago, and our return on investment on this program over the past 6 years has been 681%. Very successful.
What kind of
Good
projects are they
ROI?
doing?
Pardon?
What kind of projects are they doing?
These are home constructions, duplexes up to fourplex, triplex.
Rehabs.
No. In Project Tomorrow, some are rehab, some are building off of empty lots.
Okay.
There's various categories. Homes that are 50 years and older fall into the rehab.
In the inner city?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a good project.
Buxton is what you talked about a minute ago. Sherry Road is, we're partnering, is that with Ever?
Precinct 4. Or
Oh,
3.
3. That's the
I'm gonna get it
partnership
right
that you,
today.
City
So
Commission has
4 is
approved.
to the north. To the north, Eli.
Okay.
East.
STC for advanced training and apprentice. Is that something that they've already approved? 450?
I was gonna say, Roy, I don't remember which STC one, but it was STC and UTRGV. I thought we had kind of maybe brought some more information. STC maybe on the program and some of the results. And I think UTRGV, I don't know if we ever got the 10-year schedule and where we stood,
UTRGV, which one?
the $1 million plug.
Okay, let me address the first one. So at the last Development Corp meeting, the Development Corporation approved the amounts, but wanted STC to come back with the nursing program to present,
And to
as
do
well
that-
as,
Or the one that was
There
the one
was
that
a
was thrown
performing
on
arts
like
center.
a few days before, the Performing Arts Center. We felt that was just kind of, slid in real fast without much of a presentation.
yeah, well, that's our fault. That was suggested by the president of STC. It went through several commissioners, and it was requested that we place it. And so, that's the second one, where the Development Corporation said, put the number in, but bring him back for a presentation. So it'll be subject to that presentation, whether it's approved or not. We can take it out if that's what you want.
No, I think we can leave it in good faith. It was just, I don't recall exactly, but I know they had to see all the funding sources and to see why it was so necessary for the city of McAllen to fund.
Yeah,
That's
so what it
specific,
does for
right?
us, Commissioner, is this is gonna be a revamping of one of their buildings so that, Valley Symphony Orchestra, among others, can use that facility. What it does for us is that all of the rehearsals will be over there, and it frees up our Performing Arts Center. So it's really money well spent for us to be able to rent the PAC instead of having them for rehearsals. And that's why we made the
Okay,
recommendation.
okay.
So,
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
it
But is that-
makes
is that-
sense, but we,
Do we already know how many rehearsal dates?
We didn't
is all
really hear that.
committed?
But
They're
I
gonna
think
get it
the
when
other
they
thing
want
they
it?
were doing is right now, I think they're in Edinburgh and they wanted to come over here so they can house out of STC. If I remember correctly, maybe Joaquin, you probably know more than I do on this.
Well, right now they've been renting the facility, if I'm not mistaken, 4 rehearsals, which I think is either 2 or 3 days, and then the actual event, if I'm not mistaken. But the idea was to, on their side, to save costs, was to use this, I guess, Community Building Performing Arts Center, STC. And it would also be a boon for us because it would open up at least 6 different weeks, right? Because they have about 6 performances.
And they're asking for half of the funding.
Right.
The total cost is $220.
Right.
so it's a one-time shot.
Yeah,
right?
it's a one-time.
The, I guess the other two are maybe more of a concern because they're kind of ongoing. The nursing and allied health, how many more years do we have of that?
The commitment was for 4 years.
4 years?
I wanna say it was a $2 million request, and it was approximately $500,000 a year. And so, I wanna say this is the second year on that program.
Okay. And then the first one is the STC,
It's like the job skills training for.
Yes.
that's what we have done in the past typically. This is the original one, right? I mean,
Right,
okay.
yeah, the new one is the nursing program.
Yeah, it's just now we've got 3 line items there for them,
For
but 2 of them are gonna
different
go
things.
away.
Right,
And
Right.
it's just, we gotta have that
and the
understood.
The 4025 is a one-time thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other one that the commissioner's talking about is UTRTV. We've hit 10 years, so it's up to the commission to decide if you're gonna continue. We recommend you do, but that's to be
When did we hit 10 years last year?
this year.
So our obligation is pretty much over at this point.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
it did say up to 2 million for 10 years, so
But this is year 11, right? Or this would be a year 11?
I believe so.
Are we helping them with anything else, UTRGV?
No, not that I'm aware
I
of.
thought we had another incentive project on 485.
no, that's
No.
with the MISD. That's not us.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, McAllen,
all right.
And they are pumping 20 million into Quinta.
I was about to say that.
20,
No,
more than
okay.
20.
We're,
More than
slow, we're
20
slowly
million.
paying it back at $1 million plug without, not really specific.
About partnerships.
Well, what we could, for a little while, we were requiring them to come present
Yeah.
what that money was gonna be used for. We didn't do that the last couple of years. We could bring that back.
I mean, every other agency presents for
Yeah.
50
Yeah, they
grand,
do.
100 grand.
Yeah.
They have to fight,
Oh, we
A
need to know.
minimum
tooth and nail.
of a presentation is
A report.
for sure.
But we need to put that in the minutes.
I just didn't know what it's for.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is Vida.
No, these guys.
That's something that the development corp.
Nobody wants to see that. Why not? What do they do with the other 45 billion?
Roy,
Endowment?
Just a million.
at least because I remember being part of those presentations, I remember Dr. or Dean Krause talking about where that money would go. And my understanding was part of it was towards recruitment, some of it was towards salary, basically incentivize, teaching professionals, professors to come down here, right?
Yeah.
What's
It's
part
hard
of-
costs that it covers.
Right. Okay.
But I think it'd be good to see sort of where they are in progress as a medical school and, some of the hurdles they've crossed, right? I know they had a lot longer for accreditation than expected. And comparing their program in Austin to down here that started about the same time, we're lagging a bit, I think.
I wonder why.
Well, resources.
Yeah.
But it'd be good to see kind of.
And now with the new center, on 495 and McCall.
But that's
Well, I know, but
this is for the
still,
medical school specifically, the one we do,
Well, they're gonna have a medical school program there too.
maybe.
So we just wanted to explain
Yeah,
what
I
they're
agree.
doing.
Okay. We'll note that, but they need to come and present. Transfers out, those are, I think, self-explanatory. Metro is something that we do almost yearly. But I also want to point to the $1.5 million that we're putting in the budget in order to cover the Quinta for MISD. So we're gonna have to do it in 2 fiscal years. Okay, any questions?
So we're still expecting McAllen ISD to come through with their obligation?
No,
Have they notified us of that?
yes.
So we're not sending out any more invoices?
No.
2.
Did they give that to you in writing?
Yes, and we could keep sending invoices.
I would prefer to keep sending invoices.
Yes, sir.
Hope springs eternal, man, you never
Yeah.
know.
It's just emails or paper, one of the.
Okay. All right, next one is what we call Infrastructure and Improvement Fund. That is the federal money that we received. I sent you this list a few weeks ago. You were asked about it in our first presentation. That's on page 16. So many of those, as you know, are underway. Kapler is one of them. Connectivity Trail with Precinct 2, they're about to bid that project. ERP, obviously, we're on hold now, but we fully anticipate moving forward. Fire Station 8 is about to be complete. Training facility about to be complete. Trails on Irrigation District, that we continue to work on. Where are we with that?
We are currently sending and waiting for an MOU to be produced so that we can send it back to the irrigation district. They are on board, ready for us to move once we get that MOU executed.
Is that with United? No. With which irrigation?
Irrigation District 1?
One.
Benson, expansion of the Benson Packet
Right.
Factory.
We need to keep in mind that we got 2 fiscal years to spend that money. So. Tennis Center, obviously a project that we're carrying. We're looking to try to finish that negotiation on the property that we discussed in executive session, as well as the multi-purpose facility property. The 2.7 buys the property, 2.3 is part of the approval. Any questions on those?
Well, you might change what we're calling it.
The tennis center?
'Cause it could be that and
It could be something else, yeah. Okay, we
Yeah.
can revisit that.
Roy, on page 18, row 24, that's just a rollover of the, where Schneider came to us about 4 or 5 years ago, and then we ended up just doing it on our own. That's still a continuation of that program?
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. We
No,
anticipate
but we're doing
spending
it
2
on-
million this fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you.
The next one is Ansel Duas Cargo. This one. Can you tell us where you're at?
Well, we're about 60% complete. The remaining will be at $58 million is what's left for this coming year. We're thinking that the booths should be coming in March 2025. And the item, the 1.7, is the Ansel Duas, it's furniture, kitchen, and equipment, part of the DAP project. And the other item, which is the 1.6 million, is the Office of Information Technology equipment. So that's why we separated them, just to be able to distinguish them.
And those have been approved at City Commission. The next one is Quinta, obviously under construction. We are estimating we'll spend approximately almost $10 million this year, with 43 million to go. And that's scheduled to be finished January of 26.
Any issues with cost overruns or anything?
Not so far. Reservoir development, we'll just talk about the figure and not so much about the project for now. We're gonna be revisiting that very soon, probably before the end of the year. It's one, where we are, and two, about the budget. Another thing that you're gonna see probably as early as the next meeting is what we call a, what do we call that, reimbursement? Resolution. And so we're about to start spending some serious money here. We've got $19 million budgeted. And so if there is a possibility that we're gonna borrow money in the future, which that possibility exists and is probably gonna happen, what we need to consider is passing a resolution so that any money spent from that day forward can be reimbursed to the general fund through a bond issue. And that's a decision that you make later. It doesn't commit you to do that, but what it does is, if someday, which you will do, borrow money for the reservoir, you can borrow this money that you're gonna spend and get it back to the general fund if the numbers make sense.
Is that the kind of resolution we did with San Luis 5
Yes.
years ago, right?
And when we did the bond election in 2018.
Does it designate either CO or GO? Do you have to make that determination?
It doesn't, you don't have to make that determination at this point. Okay? Any questions on that? Reimbursement resolution, is that what I said?
Yeah.
Drainage fee, this is an ongoing, fund that has been tremendous for us. As we receive revenue, we add projects. And, you can see that we're looking to spend about almost $11 million out of that fund strictly for drainage next year. Traffic and drainage bond.
And you think we're gonna do all those projects
Yes, sir.
in 1 year?
On the drainage fee, we're usually able to do that on a year-to-year basis because they're usually smaller. There's a couple that are larger, but that are gonna be ongoing projects, but most of the rest, we should be able to do. Traffic and drainage, we show, this is the last of all of those projects. So once we finish this, that traffic and drainage bond will be complete. Next one is TERS number 2. That's around South McAllen. You want to talk about that, Michelle?
This is a church that we created for this project on the south side of the town. We still have to work with the county to get reimbursed, but we've been doing some design and some inspires.
And I will tell you that we are having a little difficulty with the county getting reimbursed for this TERS. We may have to go in front of the county and make that request in person. Yeah, no, I'm looking at Joaquin.
No, I'll do it.
I'm like,
I'm 100 feet away, man.
all right. There you go, Joaquin.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay, next is the street improvement construction bond. That's almost complete.
¿Cuál?
You wanna tell us about the ones that are outstanding there?
So we've actually completed the bond. There was some additional money because we had grants for some of those where we got revenues. And the project that got funded with some of those revenues is in Olana Avenue from 23rd to Ware. That's so we can start the design. There is federal funds that will be tied to the construction on that project. And that's why it's important that we kick that off next year so that we can stay on track to let the project on the timeline with the MPO. And that project is in Olana from 23rd to Ware Road.
Let's try an extra lane on each side.
We're looking to go to 6 lanes with a
6
center
lanes.
turn, with a median.
Okay, so that way it's the same way it is from like 2nd to 23rd right now. right?
Yes, sir.
The last one on this packet is the seized funds. You wanna tell us about that?
The seasons, so this, first of all, Chief Rodriguez had to go out of town, wasn't able to attend the meeting. The reason this is here is because one of the projects that he's working on, which is the evidence storage construction project facility, initially we were thinking about doing that under PDC's funds. Unfortunately, U.S. Department of Justice came back and told us construction is not allowed. We can do anything other than construction. We can do design, we can do purchase of, after the construction project, we can purchase equipment, furniture, things like that. So the initial cost from the CIP for request for the storage, the chief would like to move it back to CIP as opposed to seized funds, only because DOJ is not allowing us to make those expenses using construction.
So we're recommending we use 50,000 for design of this, out of seized funds. And that, as you all are aware, the seized funds are in total control of the police chief. And then we can revisit the construction of some 400,000 at a later date. Obviously, they're recommending CIP, you've got money there, but we can decide where to take it.
So how was the parking garage of the police department paid for?
Forfeiture funds. That
Oh,
was
this is
several-
seized.
Right. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it's the same thing, forfeiture funds, seized funds, same thing.
Okay.
So back then, several years ago, it was allowed to do construction using forfeiture funds. Unfortunately, just recently, the Department of Justice told us we can no longer use forfeiture funds for the construction
Discretion for
of anything, specifically like the storage facility that the chief's asking for. We're not allowed to use forfeiture funds anymore.
I was just trying to reconcile that in my memory, that's all.
I mean, it's money that, it's not taxpayers' money, it's seized money.
We submitted a request through Department of Justice for the use of the trust for construction.
Right.
They came back
Yeah.
and told us that's not allowed as per their federal guidelines, that we can't use that money for construction of anything at all.
Yeah, even though it's seized funds, the DOJ still has oversight of the
Do they wanna defund the police?
Not McAllen, McAllen's been extremely well.
No, not us.
Okay, that's all of that. The only other thing we've got today is the agencies.
Agencies.
We'd like for you to.
Siempre así.
We didn't see it. It's down there.
Oh. You were not here. Ahí te va, carnal. Catch.
On the bottom of that page is Development Corp. Again, the Development Corporation has already voted on that budget. You have to approve it. You can change it, increase it, decrease it, if you'd like. And the top is all of the agencies that we fund out of the general fund. They're pretty consistent
But remember,
as
these
we
are
go
just
up and down the list. There's a couple that, there's small changes to. Let me see, we've got VSO is consistent. We talked about the chamber. They had a significant request. We're recommending $950,000. We visited with the chamber. I'm not gonna say that they're happy, but they're satisfied that they'll be able to do some of the work that they want to complete there. And then the other one is, well, the Boys and Girls Club, we're recommending the same amount of money as last year, which is what the CDBG advisory board recommended.
We have an issue with, I think it's McAllen Town Band. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Too much.
Some of the members may have committed, outside of course, the regular call meetings, that was not discussed or anything, but doubling that.
Doubling that?
It's not
Had
in
you
the-
attended the concert, you would have known.
I know, right?
Not
Yeah.
in the budget.
I remember.
I have a video recording.
Of what?
I don't see it in the
Well-
budget. Was it requested? What's-
Yeah, this is news to me.
They've been at it, and if we
remember.
can't find it somewhere, I think we should.
Okay,
Yeah.
is
Reason?
that a consensus?
Yes,
Yes.
Just reason? Like, what do they need it for?
because this is their 50th anniversary, you want to continue offering
What are we-
professional sound and
what are we
music
funding?
at no cost to minimal cost. This is an investment.
I
that
mean,
could be considered.
who's making the presentation? Like,
Yeah.
We need a presentation.
Present Joaquin.
All right, so this year, so this is the 50th anniversary of the town band. It was founded back, obviously, 50 years ago. Started off at the gazebo in Archer Park. Was originally like 25-member band, now it's up to 75. Most of them are composed of music teachers or retired music teachers. They're trying to continue and promulgate more music programming. You saw some of that maybe during Christmas in the Park. You saw that, through various concerts throughout the season where they provide $0 to a $7 admission fee. It opens up music and the venue at the PAC to a lot of folks who may not otherwise be able to pay $45, $90 for a concert at the Valley Symphony Orchestra. These are semi-professional people, but to the untrained ear, you're not going to tell the difference between what they play and what Valley Symphony plays. But I think if we're going to continue promoting our community to being a destination city, as we've always discussed, and we want to lure professionals, teachers, lawyers, engineers, doctors, and all this. They're into the finer arts, and specifically the performing arts. And I think we want to certainly have a community that is open and receptive to all. I think having our own, and taking ownership of our own town band and supporting them is certainly a worthwhile endeavor.
I echo that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
I do, it's good.
Resume case.
That's fine, I get it for all the untrained ears out there.
But I believe also
Just
that,
raucous.
yeah, I believe the Valley Symphony Orchestra also was asking for much more. And we got 135.
On that one, I do serve as ex officio member to that board. Last year I'd asked Roy for a 10-year comparison of all the agencies we had. And if you go back, and I guess I can find the email, funding for Valley Symphony Orchestra was exactly 125 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And of course, and I think, I think they're grateful for a bump to 135. Their ask was 130. Their ask was 250. Obviously that's kind of on the very high side. I'm not suggesting 250. But
200?
they may have come with the attitude of go big or go home, right? And again, now these are professionals. They are paid professionals. They get paid to come down, or they're local to pay. When they show up for a rehearsal, they basically got an hour to know the piece, or they're not professional and they go find jobs somewhere else. Again, to maintain the high level performance and performing arts in our community, certainly you want to be able to have this type of organization for those with a trained ear to understand the difference between a local and a more professional program. They have a lot of projects. One of the big projects they have is the education series, where they offer low cost to the school districts to bring in 5th or 6th graders to listen to a full concert. I think the last estimate was 4,000 or 5,000 students over a month or a month and a half that have the opportunity to do this. In some cases, they offer lower cost tickets so that the student and maybe a parent or two parents can come so they can see a top-notch, top caliber performing symphony. And I'm going to tell you this, McAllen is very fortunate, the Valley is very fortunate to have symphonies. There are other symphonies that if you were not aware of, like the one in San Antonio, actually went bankrupt.
Yep.
And their own performers created a nonprofit to perform and continue the San Antonio Symphony Orchestra. So I don't have to tell you that San Antonio's bigger on everything, right? But so we have a true gem here that we can call our own, and I really do believe that our community, our city, needs to step up to take ownership of this.
Yep.
Right?
What are you recommending?
But what is it?
And I'm gonna leave this up to the board. I mean, I think we're grateful. I'm grateful for the 135. If 200 is something that's viable for this commission, I can tell you what, they will do somersaults.
I think 200.
At the very end, our city's growing.
200.
Yeah, 200.
We don't have trained ears, do we? So we don't have trained ears, but what we do know is perception. We're growing, and any city that has a symphony that keeps on, it changes. So we're looking at funding STC. We're looking at increasing this. We're beautifying our conventions, and we're doing all that type of stuff. We gotta upkeep everything. So we can, if you all want to do something, I suggest we do.
Well, the other thing is that they pay for the rental of the event.
That's it.
And they actually fund themselves. In other words, they're paying us back by renting.
So 200 is fine?
I think 200.
200.
I think it's good.
Right.
Well, Leroy,
Thank you,
you have
gentlemen.
1 month left. Figure it out.
Math is easy.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Math is easy.
I would I would attempt to help McAllen Heritage Center a little bit more.
Definitely, and actually, that's one of the things we have put in the, we need to take a look at that. I had suggested, but I don't know whether we can, having an election to, or how would that, we'll discuss it later about the hotel tax, having an election for a specific purpose, IMAS and the Heritage Center, that after, once it's taken care of, drops off, and, but that's more a workshop type of deal. But, I think there is interest in the Heritage Center. I mean, I don't know about here, what y'all wanna do, but I think for the long run, we have to do what we gotta do for IMAS and the Heritage Center.
So we're like 15,000 off
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
Give them their request.
Yeah,
I
just
would
Gonna go to
give the
140.
request.
140.
Yeah.
140.
Okay.
140 is fine.
Otherwise, Nedra will kick us in the behind.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we don't
Okay.
want that.
Okay, so for the town van, it's double, 38, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we've got that.
Yep.
You hit oil.
Yeah.
Stop drilling. I will.
Any other comment on any of them?
So my,
No, thank you so much.
forget it. Well, I just want to know what the discussion was on the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, so we broke that down a couple of months ago, and she feels that with the 950, she can do the programs that are most important. I will say that part of her request was for one-time projects. I just felt that the number was just so big, and so they're happy with the 950. I said she wasn't happy. They're satisfied with the 950.
Is the expectation that the 950 would be like an ongoing number,
Probably.
or is the 700 to 950 kind of a one-time because we're having to pay these expenses from the previous CEO that, you know, 'cause we had to pay for his salary kind of thing?
Yeah, that's part of it, but really it was new programs that she wants to put together. So what she's gonna do instead is do it on a multi-year process. So the answer to your question is the 950 is probably gonna be requested again.
Okay.
Well, a lot of the times, there's some agencies that I'm gonna say it, I dislike, but I still shut up. One of the ones I do like is Vida, and I see that they had requested 600, the committee said 600, and you went 500. And I think that's one of the organizations that are very beneficial to our community. Maybe we can do a little, at least 50,000, or, I don't know. Because I think Vida's a very good.
Well, that's an
organization.
excellent point. Development Corp did recommend 600, so we can change that.
600. Sure.
Budgets are much better when you have money.
Okay,
And I think that's it.
we're good. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Love you, covers. This time I need to run quick.
Okay. See you later.